Hello, people. Welcome to a short video on valuation. So, I'll be sharing some information on valuation regarding what exactly is valuation of assets and what are the purposes of valuation for this video. What is valuation? Valuation is the technique of estimation or determining the fair price or value of a property such as building, a factory, other engineering structures of various types, land, etc. Purposes of valuation. In real properties, there are various purposes for which valuation may be required. It is essential to know exactly for what purpose the valuation is being prepared for is an art, and professionals have to consider all pros and cons of the various factors affecting valuation. Broadly speaking, valuation may be required to be done for the following purposes. Use of valuation reports in the sale of property. If the owner of any property wishes to offer the same for sale, it is necessary first and foremost to find out what it would fetch him in monetary terms. Then only can he make a realistic decision on whether to accept or reject an offered price. When manufactured articles such as food grains etc. are offered in the market, their price can easily be ascertained. In this case, a valuer is not required. However, in the case of real estate or in the case of certain other items when identical properties do not exist, the services of a valuer becomes necessary. In many cases, large public companies, trusts, or even private individuals, in order to protect their own interest, ask for professional help before selling or purchasing the property. Second purpose, use of valuation reports in the purchase or sale again of property. Unlike say the machine or food grades, no two properties are identical. For instance, a ton of wheat may be similar to another ton of wheat if some factors remains the same, such as agricultural requirements, locality where grown, etc. However, a square meter of particular plot is never exactly the same as another square meter of land, even if it is adjacent to it. Therefore, as properties are always different, they require an expert opinion when a purchase is made. An independent valuation is always welcome in this case. In addition to getting a monetary value or a numerical figure for his property, a prospective purchaser would normally like to get an opinion of other aspects of of other aspects of the property also. This might include age, future expected life, condition of the building, etc. in case of a structure. If it is only land, then type of plot of land, its suitability for a particular purpose, its proximity to a transport head, a market, etc. are factors to be considered. Other factors could be zoning laws, municipal approvals, liability of property tax, mortgage, etc. Third purpose, valuation for central government taxation under tax laws. Valuation of property is required under various direct tax laws administered by the Central Board of Direct Taxes, Minister of Finance. This include the Wealth Tax Act, Capital Gains Tax, etc. These valuations are normally required to be done under the particular act for a specific purpose as of a specific date. Fourth purpose, valuation reports used for fixing rents and for the purpose of forecasting earnings. Any property owner would like to receive a return on his investment that is in conformity with return on the other investments. If the owner has constructed a building on his land with the purpose of renting it for whatever purpose, he would like to work out the rent. From this rental incomes and expected outgoings, he can forecast the earning capacity of his property. Fifth purpose can be valuation for insurance purpose. Insurance policies can be made out against fire damage, theft and loss, earthquake, etc. Insured parties normally bring their valuation reports up to date at frequent intervals. Current insurance coverage is necessary. If the property is overinsured, a higher premium is paid unnecessarily. On the other hand, if the property is underinsured, the full loss against actual losses cannot be recovered. Valuation under Land Acquisition Act. Normally, all democratic governments pay just compensation for any property that may be acquired for public good. When property is taken for a public project or for public good, compensating the original owner at a fair market price is necessary. In such a case, the acquiring authority as well as the owner of the property may employ different and independent valuers in order to determine the amount of compensation. The competent authority hears evidence from both sides and then decides on compensation. In some cases, a government agency may occupy private property for a certain limited period of time. Under such circumstances, rental value of the property has to be fixed. Valuation in connection with mortgages. Property of various kinds can be pledged as security against loan. The property may be land, a residential house, or any other asset. In such cases, a valuation report on the current market value of the property is necessary. Also, the valuer should give an idea of the property forecast, that is, probable future trends regarding the property. If the property is income producing, the earning capacity of the property should be indicated. This data will allow the lender to set specific targets for repayment of loan and return of capital. Many institutional lenders, such as banks and state financial corporations, are bound by law to have pledged real estate valued and not to lend more than a certain fixed percentage of this valuation. So, for example, if the value of the property is 1 CR,
એ કોઈ છોકરી આવી છે કે યલો બેગ તારી પાસે હતો એનો તો નથી इसके पास नहीं है
yeah, sorry. So, as I was mentioning, if the property value is 1 CR and if it is being used as a security for against a loan, so it's not necessary the loan which will be given is will be entirely for 1 CR. It can be like anything about 50% or 70% of 1 CR, or maybe even 30-40%, or maybe even 80% of 1 CR, depending upon the norms of the lenders, or lenders. Valuation for partition of properties. The distribution of property under a family settlement or a will or on dissolution of a partnership between various claimants warrants valuation of the property. Such valuation form the basis of the settlement, or they may be used in any legal proceedings. Valuation for mergers, takeovers, acquisition by companies. In case two or more businesses or enterprises come together, it is necessary to place a value on each so that stocks or shares of the new merged corporation can be apportioned between shareholders. Also, when properties are exchanged, each asset should be valued. Valuation for liquidation. Very often, it happens that a company has become sick or is not operating for any of several reasons. There may be creditors of the company who have gone to court for affecting liquidation. The court in turn may have appointed an official liquidator to liquidate assets and pay off the creditors. The official liquidator will require an inventory of items and the value or minimum price at which the assets are to be sold. Here also valuation will be required for the liquidation proceedings. Next purpose, valuation for leasing properties and fixing lessee interest. When properties are leased by an owner, it is necessary to determine the fair market value of the property in monetary terms. Also, since the lessor is likely to ask for a rent together with a premium at one-time lump sum payment, which may or may not be returnable on expiry of lease, the lease terms would first have to be settled. Valuation in such cases would include present value, estimated future value, annual maintenance costs, and rental value of property. Next purpose, valuation requirement in probate matters. The grant of probate, that is, for the successors to get the property transferred to their name, is a state subject in India. A valuation for this purpose is necessary as all state governments collect stamp duty under their own laws. Valuation requirement for calculating court fees and for other specific requirements in court cases. When legal proceedings are started in court for whatever purpose, normally a court stamp fee is to be estimated. For this purpose, if the subject matter happens to be a real estate immovable property, plant and machinery, etc., a valuation may be necessary. Further, sometimes valuation may be required in court cases involving fraud and damage. A situation may arise when one party may claim that false facts were presented to it. In such cases, a valuation may have to be made taking into account the position that actually existed at the time of sale. The difference in sale value and actual valuation may be assessed as monetary loss to the party. So the purposes are up to slide number 28. We'll quickly finish the other remaining purposes. Yeah, so the next purpose is valuation for accounting purpose, asset valuation. Very often, large companies or other organizations revalue their assets and bring up to date the historical value in their books of accounts and balance sheet. This concept is popular in Western countries and is gaining ground all over the world, whereby the concept of current cost accounting has been introduced. In fact, Britain has introduced legislation whereby large companies adopt this new concept of current cost accounting against the traditional historical accounts so that the true picture of the prevailing actual fixed assets can be reflected in the balance sheet. Valuation will frequently have to be done to keep in line with this concept. Valuation reports should study alternate investment opportunities and economic feasibility. Very often, an investor is faced with the choice between alternative investments. Again, in each investment proposals, there are several questions likely to arise. That is the cost of actual acquisition, the market value of the property, the likely return on investment, etc. Asset valuation under the Companies Act 2013. A registered valuer shall decide the approach to valuation based upon the purpose of the valuation in accordance with applicable standards. If any, can choose from asset, income, and market approach. One or more of the following prescribed methods or any other method accepted or notified by the Reserve Bank of India, Securities and Exchange Board of India, or income authorities. Like net asset value method, market price method, yield method, profit earning capacity value, and discounted cash flow method. Other methods are comparable companies multiples methodology, comparable transaction multiples method, price of recent investment method, sum of the parts valuation, liquidation value, weighted average method. So these are the Indian accounting standards. We'll quickly run through it. So as mentioned earlier, a registered valuer shall decide the approach to valuation based upon the purpose of the valuation in accordance with applicable standards, if any, and can choose from asset, income, and market approach. One or more of the following prescribed methods or any other method accepted or notified by the Reserve Bank of India, Securities and Exchange Board of India, or income tax authorities. Indian Accounting Standard 16. Property, plant, and equipment. It prescribes the accounting treatment for property, plant, and equipment. These main issues dealt in AS 16 are recognition of property, plant, and equipment, measurement at and after recognition, depreciation, impairment of property, plant, and equipment. Ind AS 36 deals with impairment in more detail. De-recognition property, plant, and equipment are tangible items that are held for use in production or supply of goods or services, for rental to others, for administrative purposes, are expected to be used during more than one period. Initial recognition of PPE in days 16 states that the cost of an item of property, plant, and equipment shall be recognized as an asset if and only if it is probable that the future economic benefits associated with the item will flow to the entity, and the cost of the item can be manufactured sorry the cost of the item can be measured reliably. This recognition principle shall be applied to all costs at the time they are incurred initially to acquire or construct an item of PPE, and incurred subsequently after recognition to add to, replace, part of, or service it. Impairment of assets under Ind AS 36. The basic principle of impairment is that an asset may not be carried on the balance sheet above its recoverable amount. Recoverable amount is defined as the higher of the asset's fair value less costs for disposal and its value in use. Fair value less cost of disposal is the price that would be received to sell upon disposal of an asset in an orderly transaction between market participants at the measurement date, less cost of disposal. India's 40 investment properties. Investment property is property, land or building or part of building or both, held to earn rentals or for capital appreciation or both, rather than for use in the production or supply, sale in the ordinary course of business. Example for of investment properties: land held for long-term capital appreciation rather than for short-term sale in the ordinary course of business. Land held for a currently under undetermined future use. A building owned by the entity or held by the entity under a finance lease and leased out under one or more operating leases. A building that is vacant but is held to be leased out under one or more operating leases. Property that is being constructed to develop for future use as investment property. Example of not the investment properties. Property intended for sale in the ordinary course of business. Owner occupied property. Property that is leased to another entity under a finance lease. Indian Accounting Standard Ind AS 113 Fair Value Measurement. Fair value is a market-based measurement, not an entity-specific measurement. For some assets and liabilities, observable market transactions or market information might be available. For other assets and liabilities, observable market transactions and market information might not be available. So, guys, these were the various purposes of carrying out a valuation exercise by a valuer. Hence, you may understand the importance of this field and why it is necessary for carrying out valuation of assets at various for various purposes. In the next video, I'll talk more about the other aspect of valuation industry, that is role, functions, and duties of valuer. Till then, thank you. Bye.